Hello, disappeared. This one is going to be um, being ex-Jehovah Witness number 2. And this one is going to be on the time that you spend. Let me explain a little bit more about the being ex-Jehovah Witness. I mean, I wanted to do it because I know there's Jehovah Witnesses that listen to me. And most likely, if they listen, they're preparing, or they would like, because I remember when I was a Jehovah Witness, I was looking for the time to where I could escape. Not so much escape, but you know how it is. You know how the system is inside the Jehovah Witness, and you look for this time. I don't know. I mean, you can't really prepare. I mean, it's really, you can't really prepare, okay? Because it entails, some people prepare. I can say that, but not too many people can prepare because there's so many things. And I guess preparing would be like, well, I guess I did some preparing. I guess I prepared myself because the first time, well, I already got it on my video, so I'm not going to explain everything that I did. But I don't know if I'm preparing or whatever, but just your feeling about things change. And when your feeling about things change, you realize, because you grew up in an organization, you realize that you just can't, like, get up and go. You know what I mean? Although there's probably people who get up and go. Um, but for the most part, I mean, because I have such a big family in it, I could pretty much tell that they're not just going to get up and go. You know what I mean? Um, because everything is connected. I mean, everything in life is connected. So they've made this thing so tight knit. So the only planning I would say that you do is like, um, is preparing yourself. You can't help but prepare yourself because you're not into it as much, and you watch videos like this. And it's such a gradual thing, but it has to come to a point to where it's going to be over with. But anyway, these being ex-Jehovah Witnesses, right? Ex-Jehovah Witnesses and people who want to come out, but when you come out, you're smashed. It's like it's really hard, but it's not as hard. I don't think it's going to be as hard now as it was when I came out, of Jehovah Witness. And times have changed, and it's getting better, I would think, because most people will go through this crazy spell. I think it's going to be a little bit better because you have your ex-Jehovah Witnesses out here. So anyway, this is a tape to tell you, just to help you out. Not just you. There's some things that ex-Jehovah Witnesses don't realize that other ex-Jehovah Witnesses help them to realize. And this is my take on, like what it is to be an ex-Jehovah Witness. However, I'm separating it because it's such a big subject. Excuse me. And this one is going to be on, the last one was on, I'm sorry, it was like fears and phobias, and I termed the fear as just things that you just fear, which is pretty big, because you just can't enjoy certain things if you have that fear all the time. Like, I can call Christmas a fear. Like I said, the cross is a fear. Even other ex-Jehovah Witnesses were a fear to me. And I'm talking about ex-Jehovah Witness not part 1, but number 1. And I didn't put down ex-Jehovah Witness, but that was a big fear for me, because you're taught when you're a Jehovah Witness, you can't, about the people who leave the organization, how bad they are and things like that. And then they have that demon factor, or something's going to get you factor. So that's fears and phobias. And I really felt like I felt really afraid, just to like watch the videos. It took me a long time. I can say even to see a video, maybe it took about a year because I knew the videos. First, I had to find out that there were videos there. I'm still kind of talking about the last one, the last number one that I did, some points I left out. And it took me about a year, and I would see them, and I would look, but I thought, something was going to happen. Oh, it was just terrible. And it took me so long until I started watching them all the time. And like I said before, when something bad would happen, I would go, because I was watching those ex-Jehovah Witness tapes. And I have been out for a long time, so it's a big process. But I think the ex-Jehovah Witnesses now with YouTube are trying to consolidate the time. Not consolidate it, but try and make it easier for people who come out or people who want to come out to be an ex-Jehovah Witness. But also there's people who come out and they don't want to. That's another fear. You don't want to be termed an ex-Jehovah Witness. Maybe you want to keep it quiet, or you don't want to say anything, because that's the fear also. So anyway, it took me a while. So that's why I'm doing these. This is the second one that I'm doing as far as being ex-Jehovah Witness. So it's pretty much good for everyone. I mean, there's some ex-Jehovah Witnesses that still go on, and I think it would help them because they help me, but it would help them because I never thought about that. I never thought about it that way, or I never thought about this that way. But I did extensive work on, pulling these things apart. If you look at my other videos, I even have an access program that I started. And I continue to do these, and I will go back to the access program also. Everything that I do on the YouTube, on my station, I make sure that I get back to it. Right now I'm in like a transition, which I've stated before. So now let's get to the second one as far as ex-Jehovah Witness. Now this is about all the meetings that we went to. I mean, we went to a lot of meetings. And I averaged it out to, it was funny because I wanted to state this one thing. All the time you spent as a Jehovah's Witness, you weren't really progressing to do anything. You were pretty much just keeping their system alive, So it wasn't really benefiting you, or doesn't really benefit you as a person to continually do that, So I was trying to say, how much time do you spend? So I think it's more than 10 hours, but I'm saying 10 hours that you have to put in as a Jehovah's Witness. The sad part about it is it doesn't go anywhere. There's no stops. There's no which is sad. And I'm stating these things because I'm telling you, this one is about the time that we spend and what to do with the time when you come out. But at first I have to explain to you about the time that you spend and understand it. I know everybody understands that you do this much time, you do this much time, but I pulled it apart. I separated it so that you can deal with things like the first one, you can deal with fears and phobias. This one, you can deal with the time. You can kind of organize it in your mind. So you can say, okay, the first one is fears and phobias, and you got that in a place. Then this one is going to be the time that we spend. There's one point that I'm trying to put in with this time. It's a concept. But anyway, I'm going to try and put it in as I speak. But you have this time, I say about 10 hours that you have to. But it's more because then you have to prepare and things like that. And not just that, it takes away time because there's times, the reason why it takes away time because nobody ever says in the Jehovah's Witness, nobody ever says, and I say things like in the Jehovah's Witness, okay? and things like that. I kind of make a kind of grammar for it, you know. But anyway, in a Jehovah Witness, so okay, so let me not lose this point. So we have, oh, okay, so there's this time that we have, but nobody ever says, so and so. I'm just gonna say so and so. What do you want to do? That's not said in a Jehovah Witness. That's time that you don't have. So the time that you do have is utilized so that you don't have time, because they never say, you know what would you like to do? What's your goals in life? How can you make yourself stronger as a person? Not as a Jehovah Witness, but as a person. I mean, those questions like that. What are your hobbies? What are your dreams? As far as you in the whole world, what is your dreams? Now, because of those 10 hours, and it's more, because of those 10 hours, you never get to see those questions. So that means it's taking more time. So the time that you could spend, or the time that you spend when everybody else in the world spends strengthening themselves and finding out about themselves and getting rid of their demons, it's wasted. It's not there. It doesn't exist in the Jehovah Witness. So that makes more time. I mean, that's more time that you're spending. So you're not just spending 10 hours, you're spending I can't say it's wasted, because it's like a thin line that I've been talking about recently. Because it's a lot of time that you don't spend, which means their time is more than 10 hours, because every week this 10 hours you don't get to know about yourself, you don't get to learn about yourself. So a normal person, yes, they have that 10 hours, but they have more than 10 hours. Why do they have more than 10 hours? Because they're able to think about themselves, they're able to think about their goals, they're able to see how they want to shape themselves. So they actually get more time. But as a Jehovah Witness, you do have that physical, like 10 hours, I would say, during the week. So the 10 hours really means more than 10 hours. So now we have that time. But there's one, I guess you can say, good thing. Everything has something good about it. The good thing about it is that you're forced to set aside, and you'll find out what I'm talking about, this 10 hours. I mean, it could be good, because it does affect you physically and mentally, that 10 hours that you spend every week. How does it affect you? Because like when you decide to come out, when you leave the Jehovah organization, or those who have already left the Jehovah organization, your body still realize, your mind still has that time in it. And that's one of the things that kind of like makes you kind of crazy, because you don't realize it, but your mind and your body actually knows that it's there. So you have that time that you stop utilizing. Okay, so that means it's like wow, I got all these things coming at me. So you have all these things coming at you. This free time. You don't even realize that it's free time, but it's like okay, you got that 10 hours, and now you're gonna have to face yourself. Sort of like look in a mirror without looking in the mirror. I mean, look at yourself. And you're forced to do that. But I'm telling you now, because it's good, because now you know that that it is something. But can you imagine if you don't know that it's something, okay? Because most people, I'm almost sure, they don't know that it's a big deal that they have that 10 hours, not just 10 hours, but now there it's more than 10 hours because you have to do so many things with yourself. Okay, so the thing that I did, and a lot of us do it naturally, but it's nice to know that that you that that you that you see it, you know what I mean, instead of figuring it out for yourself. And that's what the world is about, we help each other. And if you find something easy, you tell me. I find something that helps you, and I tell you. So what can you do? My idea, what I did was I made a goal for myself. I wanted to go back to something that wasn't really expressed in the organization. I just wanted to go back to school. I wanted to learn more. Of course, I couldn't because I really took the Jehovah Witness mind. A Jehovah Witness mind. I mean, I was really into Jehovah Witness mind. So my mind was really, I'm not saying it was weak, but weak. Weak in the sense that it wasn't practiced. It wasn't I didn't use a lot of the muscles. Everybody thinks muscles are physical, but there's muscles in understanding, muscles in reasoning. There, you have to develop the reasoning. So especially when you go back to school. So the first time I couldn't go back to school, but I kept thinking about it. So the number one thing I would say is make goals, not goals, but things that you want to do. They overexpress goals because, I mean, I don't believe that you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, I believe that you can try and do everything that you want to do, but maybe what you think you want to do is not really what you want to do, and then there's other things that go, so I'm not going to go there. The only thing I'm trying to say is that you have to be aware that you have time, and not just time, that 10 hours, you got to do something with it so that it won't make you go crazy, and it will benefit you as you go along. And what I did, and it helped me, I didn't know I was doing it. A lot of people probably do it just naturally. I wrote. I did things because I couldn't go back to school, and because I couldn't go back to school because my mind wasn't ready yet. Because I told you, I believed everything that they said. I thought they had everything right, that they knew everything, but it wasn't that true. It wasn't true at all. So I wanted to go back to school. When I went back to school, I mean, I couldn't go back. My mind was because they don't teach you that you could do things in your mind. You know what I mean? Like reasoning. You know what I mean? If somebody tells you something, you can actually look at it in your mind and say, is this right or is this wrong? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So what I did, because I couldn't go back to school, I mean, I wasn't prepared yet. I did things artistically, like reading, and wrote. Like, I'm talking about, like, and everybody's different. I was writing this book, okay? And I just wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I did art, painted, but it was something that I did to strengthen my mind. It was just something because it was something that inside of me that I wanted to do because I couldn't go to school yet. I wasn't prepared. So the reason why I say like writing, everybody can write, write something that you like, poetry, do music. Wow, your mind is in what's that? What's it do? Let me get this word together. Okay, what it's doing is it's actually like moving, showing you that you can do things with your mind. You know what I mean? You yourself. You don't need somebody to go, okay, you have to go here Tuesday, you have to do this, and you have to do that, you have to do that. Don't think about this, don't think about that. So I chose, until I was ready to go back to school, I chose, because I like music. I did music. I did pretty much a lot of things. But maybe it's not that. Maybe you, let me see if I can get other people's minds. Maybe it's uh, volunteer if you can, but that's going to be hard because you never volunteered before. But that would be a good step to take away a fear. Like, until you're ready, if you want to go to school and you're not ready, do something like volunteer. You know what I mean? Anything. You know what I mean? Volunteer. Think about causes. Because I've met people because I like different causes, and I met other people who liked causes also, and that's all they did was because they loved causes. So that was that. And you can read about the cause. It could be anything. It could be Greenpeace. It could be anything political. You know what I mean? Things like that. But you need to do something. Think about it. Something kind of hobby. It could even be a hobby. Even making baskets, or it could even be playing basketball or something. But like if it's playing basketball or something, it has to be something that you really have to structure. Like for instance, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to be a basketball player or anything, but if a Jehovah Witness coming to be ex-Jehovah Witness, you would have to say, okay, I want to do this in basketball. I want to be able to dunk. I want to be able to get a better basket. I want to be able to, or even learn. I never learned the rules. I want to know the rules. Or I want to get a team together. There's a lot of teams. That's another thing you could do. If you're into basketball, you're into football, you're into hockey, there's teams all around. Even if you're in a big city, I mean, mostly if you're in a big city, but even if you're not in a big city, you just got to check around and see something that fits you. Either it's a hobby, or it doesn't have to be a hobby. It could be something new. Like for instance, have I really? I was actually gonna, even though I like tennis, at one point in time, I was gonna, play basketball. I can play basketball a little bit now, but it didn't make a difference to me that it was, like something that I never really played too well. But it was a structure. It was something that I wanted to do. And I said, oh, maybe I can learn this, you know what I mean? But you have to do something with that time, because if not, it's going to overwhelm you. So this one is, like I said, just being an ex-Jehovah Witness is what to do with that extra time. We know that we have the 10 hours, but it's more than 10 hours. When you come out, the hours double because you're faced with yourself also. Like in the Jehovah Witness is 10 hours, but you're closed. There's so many things that you can't do. So that means I can say it's actually wasting time. The 10 hours waste more than 10 hours. I could say it's waste maybe 20 hours because you cannot go into yourself. When you're out, that 10 hours turns into 20 hours. And it seems like you could just lay around and have fun or something, but that goes over really, really quick. Time is like it's like rent. It's like a bill that you have to pay. I mean, you want to make sure you do something. That's why you could even do YouTube videos. I mean, you see, look at the ex-Jehovah Witness YouTube videos, and they get better and better. That takes time to do, time and research. And that's another thing that you could do, that you could put your interest in helping other people, other ex-Jehovah Witnesses. So this one is what I'm saying, is that it's time. It's about time. It's about time. What are you going to do with that extra time? Or if you're ex-Jehovah Witness and you never realize that you have that much extra time, well, you do have a lot of extra time. And I'm not talking about, you could have 2 jobs, you can have You could already be working, even if you're ex-Jehovah Witness, but you got to think about it. You still have that time that you didn't have. So you got to make something about yourself. Make, or look at, what did you do with your time when you left that Jehovah Witness, you know? And these are for people who are not interested in doing YouTube. People who are not interested in doing anything. They just don't have anything to do. Nothing on their mind. They left and that's it. Well, I wouldn't spend the time, you know, it's up to you though. I mean, I'm just telling you what, I'm not going to tell you what I wouldn't spend the time on, because everybody has their own mind. And that's one thing extra witnesses don't do. We don't get in like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do that. So this one is just to make you realize that you have time now. And it's not just time, but it's more time than what you would see in the ex-Jehovah Witness, because you have that 10 hours, but that 10 hours that you do in the Jehovah Witness is just to keep you there. It's to keep their system running for themselves. So I hope this video helps you. This is number 2, and I'm going to keep going with it, because then after a while you can see the whole big picture about all the things that happen to us as far as ex-Jehovah Witnesses. And it helps me, because it makes me, when I do the videos, it makes me realize and visualize what's happening to me now. And I'm still affected. I mean, I almost said I left the truth, but quote unquote truth. I left the organization maybe 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, but it still affects me. It still has a very, very big effect. The number one thing, of course, you know, because the families are gone, my friends, you never get them back. So you got all those things that you always still think about. It's still there. The only thing we have to do is we have to keep, working together, and that's what we do. At least we have something to do now with this YouTube. I know, and I was going to say the other channels, but I'm not going to say the other avenues of social media since we're on YouTube. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we're going to hang in there. We're going to do the best that we can. Thank you.